Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the East Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and anything you can do about it. Today I'm excited. You say, but Pastor, you're excited every time you come on. Well, listen, very seldom do we get a chance to get icons to come on to the show. And we have today Sister Bebe Coker, who is an icon for the city of Wilmington as well as for the state of Delaware. She has done a phenomenal job with the whole education process. She's served on many boards. She even served with us at the Moyer board when trying to turn that school around, and it did turn around. So I'm excited today. I want you to call somebody. Tell them Coffee with Curry is on, and let's get after it. And we're back. Look, it is a joy and a privilege for me to welcome to the Coffee with Curry, the legendary, the woman of women, the woman who stands taller in her stocking feet than most other women do on stilts. Bebe Coker, she is an icon for this community, has done so much and have been fair to all communities to make sure that the black agenda certainly move forward. Bebe, welcome to Coffee with Curry.
Thank you. And I don't see any coffee, though. I'm telling you.
I knew you would be making sure you give that observation. That is something that happens.
That's for sure.
But I have the cups.
Yeah.
So one of these days we're going to get them filled. As a matter of fact, we probably have to ask Joan or Joanne to give me some coffee.
That's right.
But, Bebe, let's start today because I'm so excited about having you here. Let's start by talking about you and your girls. I heard you from Florida. And tell me a little bit about your rearing, and then let's talk about your girls because I know you love them dearly.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Well, number one, really, I appreciate your, taking the time to let me be on the show because I was really needing to come wanting to talk to you about some things that were on my mind, and I appreciate your having me on the show. That's serious. That's the first thing. By the same token, when it comes to Laura, Joan, and Julie, I actually don't think that there are any three daughters that are any better. And I know yours is, but her time will come. Amen. But in terms of my three, I'm just so proud of them. And it's not, all of them have very laudable occupations, professions, whatever. But it's not about that. It's about the women that they are and the fact that they understand that you're given these talents to use for other people, to meet their needs. And it's not to sit back and wait until the newspaper comes or until you see this or something big and glorious. No. It's like just recently with Joan, people weren't getting vaccinated. So what do? You don't call the news journal. You just find a way to get them vaccinated.
It has done a phenomenal job.
And that's, to me, those are the things that are important. I think that I was very, very fortunate in their rearing. I had one of the best set of in-laws in the world. I know people always make jokes about in-laws, mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, and that kind of thing, but I had the absolute best. Reverend Lawrence Coker and Dorothy Coker were just, they were my right and left arms, and I don't know what I would have done without them.
Wow.
And my own mother in Florida, where I am from, used to help me out. Every year, Mama would take the kids for a whole month in August. And she would take them down to Florida. They would go all these different places. My kids went to Disney World every year. And she would buy their school clothes and all that kind of stuff. But overall, I just think that with our families, with the two families, the Coker family and the Ross family, the girls got a good balance, and they in turn are giving to others on both sides of the family, looking out for them.
Yeah, and I happen to know two of them personally, and one worked in the city of Philadelphia as a planner, and when the Qs came to town, she just asked us not to tear up the place. But then I had the opportunity to be with Dr. Joan just a couple of weeks ago up at Dell State, and what she did, and had her Jewish counterpart to support her in that. It was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And like you said, she never, and I didn't know. I know she called and said she wanted to do something in the city as well. And she had asked me if I would help her, and certainly we had the facilities. But with how she took it it is much larger than people
That's right.
even thought that would happen. So I'm very grateful for her and for what she does. Bebe, you know, as I think about it, and you were right, people always say it's a poor frog that don't praise his own pond, but you do have something to be grateful for. These young ladies that you raised, especially in the time that they were being reared, and they have done well. I know you went to Morgan, am I correct? So
I went to Morgan.
Okay.
And Laurie and Joan went to Tuskegee.
Okay, that's right.
Now, I'm gonna say this to you, and not trying to give a history lesson, but Joan was pre-med and Laurie was in nursing, because Laurie's a nurse, and worked for what is that thing? What is it called? The Federal Center for Disease Control, CDC. And she was Navy. Laurie retired from the Navy. She was Army and Navy, really, but you had to go into the Navy in order to do CDC stuff as a thing. So she did that. But, excuse me, I would say, and Julie is now in San Diego with hers, but Julie wanted to go to an HBCU.
Okay.
But at the time, now that wasn't that long ago, and I want you to think about this. At that time, there was not one HBCU that had hospitality management as a major in their educational curriculum. Because we thought, as HBCUs, this is too much housekeeping.
Right.
They have no idea. And deliberately, to me, I think when you don't really know and have information about certain kinds of vocational professions, it's because other folks, quote, don't want you to know, okay? Now, she's sitting up here working in Philadelphia and other places in Chicago, running their tourism, their conventions, their hotels. Come on now.
That's right.
That's a little bit more than housekeeping.
A whole lot more.
And the thing of it is, you are responsible for the excellence of the housekeeping, and that's just as important. People don't get it. We are so hung up on, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be a minister, I'm going to be a teacher. Oh, okay. How many of those can we have?
All right.
Okay? So we need to look at other professions, and which is what they did, and I was really proud, because I remember when Julie was saying what she wanted to do, I thank the Lord. I was on the VOTEC school board at the time, and I asked them, what's the best school? And they told me. And she went to Johnson and Wales.
Oh, okay.
And Julie started, she could have started that July after her graduation, 4 years. We made her stay 4 years, not 2. But she started in August with the Hyatt. She was with the Hyatt chain for years. She has not been out of work one day. Not one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
And let me tell you, she sets excellence, because when we were there for that event, she gave us the excitement that we really needed for the convention that we had. And so all of your girls have done well. You have done well, and hats off. And I'm glad you're able to give others, like your in-laws, credit for supporting. But you have stuck with them. If you see one of the girls anywhere, you're gonna see Bebe, and that's what I said. And it was funny because I didn't look at the program when we were at Dell State. I didn't look at the program until the end to see who was going to get the awards. And I said, oh my gracious, Joan is getting an award. And then somebody said, hey, and I didn't turn around totally. And then when I did turn around, who was there? Bebe. So it was just a joy and a privilege, and it has been. I met you about, I guess, 8 or 9 years now.
Was it?
It was. I guess
it was longer than that.
It
really.
may be. It may be. But I just know that when we met, I fell in love with you. Then I really love your knowledge base.
Oh boy.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, in a few minutes. But your knowledge base is just unbelievable, from the DSEG to all that we are going to talk about, because people disagreed with you. They felt that nah, baby, you got this one wrong. But you know what? It turned out you had it right. Matter of fact, I might as well just stay right there and let's just talk about that, because all too often we go with the familiar.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. Now, that's one subject, Pastor Chris, I have a lot of problems with, and I think you know that. Jim Baker and some other people that you are not familiar with, because they were active with us on the committee, but they're not like in the city and that kind of thing. But it was Baker, myself, and Jack Miles, Pat, but about 9 of us, that's all. Trust me, in this community, we could not even get an even dozen people to work with us. Because everybody thought that we were way off base, including a lot of the professionals. My only concern was this. When you think about it now, our disagreement and ability to act on what we believed in, and Jim Baker and I both say the same thing, it wasn't rocket science.
Right.
Chris, schools by law weren't segregated. Housing was.
Right.
Duh.
And that's what you were.
And we were pushing to get the housing laws passed and kept pushing down there in Dover, thinking, okay, we get the housing laws passed, you know, you live wherever you want, that kind of thing, and everything will be okay. Okay. Everybody, the majority of the people, went against us, and a certain segment of the white population, simply because when you, I think people realize it now, when you divide a people and divide a community, there is a division. I should have said, when you divide a community, you divide a people. And we have not been a community in the true sense of the word since that time. Right. And then on the heels of that, we were fighting for 95 not to go through and split the neighborhood. Nobody saw that. They saw it as transportation and speed and da-da-da. It split the neighborhood. Y'all don't even think you were born yet, but it split the neighborhood in half. And the sense of community was lost.
Yeah.
So I think the reason I say that is not to say I told you so, but it's more to say, let's start thinking about, one, how we can repair the damage that we've done, which means that we really need to help people to see an educational system as more than which building you sit in.
Right, right.
Duh.
Right.
And we need to help more people understand, black, white, pink, and green, that when young people go to school together and play together in a neighborhood after school and play on the playgrounds, walk together to and from school, they know each other, they're friends. Right now, our community does not have that sense of relationship because our children really don't know each other anymore.
Yeah, they bust everywhere.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I think that we should realize, and it's never too late, I don't give up on stuff, that was exactly what the larger community wanted, for us to not be a community and to be divided. And as such, it was almost like, let the economy flourish, let things go on as they wanted to. Let's build more houses, let's do this. And we don't have to worry about the community of African Americans going against anything that we do. And if you look at even just the time that you have been in this town, how many uprisings have you seen to regain a sense of community or something about education? You saw something, well, in '68 I saw it when King died. Then you saw something when one of our people here unfortunately got shot. A couple. And we rioted, we did all this kind of stuff. But it's like, I'll share it with you, and the community can get offended if they want to. I'm at the point now, it's okay with me. But my point is that I understand how a mother would feel. I would try to understand, because I can't understand, it hadn't happened to me. But in terms of somebody being shot, I listened to a mother talking about her son being shot at something that Xanthia gave, a outing. And you were in tears by the time that woman finished. I mean, not that her whole life was in her son, but she had given life to this young man, and he was doing things, he was excited. But anyway, that happened. And I guess what I'm saying is that when you tell me that Black Lives Matter, they gotta matter more than when policemen beat somebody over the head, or what you call police abuse, what we call police abuse. To me, if someone that looks like us shot somebody on a tricycle on Madison Street, that did happen, shot through a window in a bedroom and a kid was killed again, shot somebody over there by the Y and 2 kids were injured and one has a paralyzed leg, to me, that's just as bad as the police beating somebody over the head.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
And one of the things I think we get misconstrued, BB, and that's why I wanted you to come on the show, because I know you're gonna tell it the way you feel, and you're not gonna give me the answers that I would want or somebody else would want. You give it what you feel is truth. And one of the things that I agree with you. I fight for injustice.
Yeah.
I fight that we may understand and get equal share to everything.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that we should be as upset when we have black on black crime as we are when we have police on black crime.
Thank you.
So both of them should be. But see, somebody has to take the blame.
Yeah.
And as we were chatting earlier, and we're going to go take a commercial break in a second, but as we were chatting earlier, the voices that you hear are always reactive. And they do not, they don't know how to build this community you were talking about. Let me take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and I want to just go right into that, because I think that's where we need to be. We'll be right back. Hey, this is Pastor Curry. Listen, while you're taking the opportunity to be a part of our Coffee with Curry, I just wanted to take a moment to plead with you to let you know there are so many exciting things happening at the Zion Fair Baptist Church. There are so many of you who have been calling and sharing with us, hey, I want to be a part of some of the exciting things that are going on. We are very much indulged in our community. Let me just share with you very clearly that we have Bible study every Thursday night at 7 p.m. There's a Zoom link that you can certainly link into in order to be a part of our Bible study. We also have the prayer and meditation every Sunday and every Wednesday. Please try to join us. It's at 5 o'clock in the morning. You'll see it on your screen, the number that you can certainly dial in. I just want to take this moment just to remind you that there are some exciting things going on in the spiritual as well as in the natural. Check our website at www.myezionfair in order to see all the exciting things that we're doing for our community. This is a church that's holistic, and we're on the grow. God bless you.
Homecoming of all homecomings, weekends of all weekends. That's right. Delaware's most exciting church, Homecoming Weekend, is on the rise. November 19th through November 21st, 2021. Let me tell you what we got going on. Friday, the 19th, we have our very own fashion show, 6 p.m. You don't want to miss it. Followed by that is Saturday, November 20th, the Greek Step Show. Come on, y'all. We're going to have a good time on Saturday. Closing it out, we have Sunday, November 21st, with our homecoming worship service. Y'all know that's going to be a good time. Followed by our homecoming basketball game. Come and support our youth. All events and all activities homecoming weekend are free. No excuse. Let's get out there. I'll see you November 19th through the 21st. Get there. Yeah!
And we're back. I'm talking with Bebe Coker, who is a good friend, like a mom, and she's the only one get to call me Chris, and I don't get offended because she is like a mom and she don't take tea for the cold. And I appreciate you, Bebe. We were just talking about this whole notion, and as an educated man, I'm all right with seeing something and hearing both sides before I form an opinion.
Yes.
But what happens, and I think what really got me upset, let's just say, even with the mayor of the city, I called for a plan. If you give me a plan, BB, I know how to execute. The Bible even say, without a vision, the people perish. If you say that this is what we're going to do, I'm going to be his greatest champion to help him get it done. Okay? Because I don't want to see murdering, period.
No.
It has nothing to do with police and black.
No.
But what happens is, a lot of times, if you saw me on Channel 10 when I was talking to that reporter, what I was really saying was the professionalism of how it was handled was wrong.
Yeah.
Now, but when I see murdering going on in our city, I'm the same way.
Come on.
If a black person shoots a black person, that's bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what happens a lot of times is that we get caught up with people, voices, Johnny-come-latelys, people who want to only be seen by TV. Then it creates all kind of problems, BB. And I'm saying to you, I agree. All crime matters. But where is the community that pulled us together when there is no crime?
That's just it. Now you got your head on straight. Okay, my suggestion right off the top with that is, because I totally agree with everything you're saying, and I know this may be a little bit offensive to a lot of people, but when, I'll put it to you this way, public accommodations, peaceful school desegregation, what was the other one? Open housing and all that kind of stuff. The lead was taken by the churches back in the day, trust me. And I truly believe that a collaborative effort between churches, black and white churches, between education, between the city, between those who are in law enforcement, collaborative efforts in our communities would make a huge difference.
Yes.
But there is not that collaborative effort because everybody is very busy, like you're saying, highlighting when somebody is shot. I remember distinctly the last, I'm terrible on names, so forgive me, but the last shooting that wasn't here, but like Missouri or wherever, I can't remember because all of them are bad in my book. I can remember watching from a distance and seeing people come from all over, or younger people, all downtown, ragging the stores, broken windows. And the interesting thing was that the greatest robberies occurred in the sporting goods place and the wig shop. And I watched people go, I'm telling you, I watched them go in there with bags, great big garbage bags, empty, and come out with them full. Nobody had, and you can ask the newspaper, the television, or anybody, not one person had a sign that said anything about the young man, I think it was, I can't remember
George
names.
Floyd?
What was before George? A younger fella, somewhere, Missouri or...
Yeah, you know, I know who you're talking about.
Okay, so all I'm saying is there was not one sign that we were protesting. Now, I'm not saying that anybody has to do anything like we did it. I know when King was killed, we were all over this place, no question about it. I mean, it was really something. But by the same token, you're going to ask that everybody come down and protest things like whether or not they remove the Caesar Rodney statue. When's the last time you saw a statue shoot somebody? I recognize that Caesar Rodney was a slaveholder. Now, if you think that every time any of us, black, white, pink, or green, particularly black people, that we looked at Caesar Rodney and saw a slaveholder, I have yet to hear one person say, oh, they need to take that Caesar Rodney down because he was a slaveholder. Caesar Rodney was the first to ratify the Constitution. He went in the snow and the rain and all that kind of stuff, went up to Philadelphia and that time. I'm not saying that these things don't make a difference to a community in terms of, okay, you're going to take Rodney down, you're going to do that. But I'm going to stand up and run all over town and protest because of a Caesar Rodney statue? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because if you don't see the value of the loss of life of a mother and her child and young men almost on a daily basis around here being shot or killed, and in Philadelphia it's even worse, then I sure as heck ain't gonna worry about a Caesar Rodney statue.
So what you are believing is that it's misappropriated energy.
Hey.
So you're saying, okay, we got it.
Yeah.
That Caesar Rodney was a slaveholder.
Yeah.
You want to get it out. But where is the same energy?
Come on.
Is what you're saying.
Come on, I'm saying yes.
And I'm not saying I'm disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to make sure that those who are watching this conversation, they understand that you're not saying that you're for the wrong.
No.
You're saying give me the same energy so that we'll know there's purpose.
Right.
You also mentioned earlier about going into the stores and they were looting and taking wigs and because what I saw during the 60s with King is they burned stuff down because they were angry.
Yeah.
They were angry that once again one of our leaders have been dealt with.
Yeah.
They didn't. But what we saw a couple of months ago or a year ago was totally different.
It was,
and it was an opportunity for people to loot and do some crazy stuff. So I agree with you. I'm just trying to make sure that those who are watching us clearly understand that there has to be energy.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah, definitely. And and I don't want anybody to think that I don't recognize the business of there being police abuse. You got to understand, I grew up in the South. Y'all don't even know what abuse is. You can't even spell it the way I went through it. So, and I don't mean just me. I don't mean that. I mean in terms of the time that we were. For one thing, it may not seem like a lot to a lot of people, but in all my growing up years, I never had a new textbook. Now, that may not be important to you, but my textbook had names in it like Robert E. Lee High School, so-and-so and so-and-so, all the years of my growing up. But the point of it is, it was still a book. Math doesn't change, and if it was an English text, that doesn't change. I still learned because we were mandated to learn how to read, how to write, how to compute. Not to be like white people, but for ourselves in terms of intelligentsia. It's like right now, Chris, I can tell you, I can go and do lectures to a lot of people. A lot of times I'm talking to older white people that are my age or older, or younger rather, I should say, or older, really. And they will talk about, well, Bebe, you know, education and the first year and first families to go to school and all that kind of stuff. I'm here to tell you right now, and I can prove it to you, I can show it to you because I have the proof. As old as I am, I can tell you that my grandfather finished Howard University. First degree was in 1896. Second degree in divinity was in 1898. I have the diplomas. So don't just think that black people weren't doing anything back in the day. It was unreal. My mother finished the University of Pittsburgh in 1926. My dad finished Wilberforce the same year, and they met down there in Florida. So we got to stop. We need to know our history. We need to know what our people did to bring us to where we are now. And if we would do that and teach our children who they are, then they would stop allowing other people to give them definitions that make them less than. Come on.
Yeah, and as you were speaking about that first generation of going to school, HBCUs, I happen to have gone to the oldest historically black college, was 1854. So if they were awarding degrees in 1854, that means us black folks was getting degrees back then. And I think it is important that we do know our history and understand it.
Yes.
And one of the things I'm very grateful about with our conversation today, Bebe, because you've always impressed me with your knowledge. You have, and that's why I whenever you call me, I just say what you need me to do, because some people you preserve in your life because they're gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And my aunt, who is not here any longer, she used to say, even if I'm wrong, I'm telling you what I believe.
Yeah.
So I've learned to respect people who really are guided by their convictions.
Yeah.
And one of the things I got me is when, at one point, I was very much against DSEG, okay?
Yeah.
Then I was for it, then I was against, because I was based on what I was being fed.
Yeah.
But as you understand the history, and now that we got the proof, we understand which route we should have gone and been, because it has some effects that is happening to us even right now.
Oh, come on.
Some of the things that's happening to us right now.
What, you know, I think with that whole DSEG thing, and if Baker were here, he would say the same thing. I think what we need to understand, or help ourselves to understand, is it wasn't about desegregating education, meaning making it equitable for everybody. I am not saying that we have so much money that every individual need would be met. That's not the point. The point of it is it should be the goal of a solid public education system to assess what the learning needs of every child is. What the learning needs of every child are, I can't remember which verb to use.
Every child is.
By the same token, once you learn it, you need to figure out or understand how that child learns, and that is how you proceed with teaching. So instead of us running around raising Cain about what statue or who did what or whatever, we need to be looking at, this is a terrible thing to say, the terrorism, the literary terrorism, educational terrorism that's going on now, where our children are being pushed through in too many instances, in too many school districts, to the levels that lack their ability to perform. We have some school districts that children go from the 1st to the 6th, and they're still on 2nd grade reading level.
And you,
come on now.
And that fight that you're speaking of,
Yes.
you've been doing it. You've been saying,
Yes,
look, this doesn't
you
make any
have
sense.
to.
And individualized learning, it's been a part of your conversation.
Oh, God.
And it's interesting, no one wants to listen, but if our community,
Yeah.
first of all, when you were being reared, and which I was nowhere to be found at the time, but when you were being reared, you didn't have as much as we have today.
That's right.
But you all values was different.
That's right.
It wasn't about the latest sneaks.
Nah,
It wasn't
right.
about being the most popular look, but it was really about giving your children something that will last
That's right.
beyond you,
That's right.
which is education.
That's right.
And and again, you know, people may say, well, he's really tooting her horn. That's what I liked about you, because you kept saying, even on the Warriors board, we can't fail our children.
That's right.
And when we allow them to pass through, when we allow them to believe that they second best other than being in excellence, that's exactly what we're doing.
Right. That's right.
You know, and I appreciate that. So one of the things that I got out of our conversation, the first part of this time of us being together, is that one, we need to look at what voices are speaking.
Hey. Come on.
What voices are
Yes.
speaking? And when are the voices speaking?
What voices are you listening to?
Yeah, amen. But which one are you listening to? And one of the things I want to say to those of you who are watching us today, as I'm enjoying this conversation with Bebe, is that honestly, somebody has to stand up and be for what is right.
Yeah.
You know, he told Jeremiah, he said, lift up our voice like a trumpet and cry loud and spare not. Now, it's not about who can holler the loudest once something has occurred, but what building blocks are we participating in? And that's what Bebe is trying to say. We're not saying don't fight for things that are wrong and the injustices that are given to us, but what we're saying is, what are we doing to build? We have just as much black on black crime. I'm not saying that I'm excusing any cops.
No.
But we have the black on black
Hello.
crime. Our neighborhoods, people, we don't even want to live in our neighborhoods.
Come on.
So it becomes important that we wake up and our consciousness need to be stirred up, and we need to be able to see the reality. Every life matters. Now, I don't get into the lingo of whether or not I say Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, Pink Lives Matter. Donald Trump think his life matters. So everybody's lives matter.
Yeah.
But what I am big on, Bebe, is making sure we build a community.
Yeah, that's key. Building the community. And when you build a community, before you just step out there and say, okay, this is what we're going to do, you got to know what the definition of a community is. What does a community entail in terms of all of the entities, not just human entities, but structural, organization, that kind of stuff. And then help people to realize one thing that is extremely important. Human life in God's eyes is so important that anything that is done in your name, in His name, for you, by you, matters.
Yes. Yes.
We don't get that.
And that's why what we try to do, Bebe, and we're going to go to a commercial break and then we're going to come back for our last part. But one of the things that we tried to do, and as the leader, I take responsibility for Ezion's failure.
Yes.
And I take responsibility for his successes.
Yes.
And one of the things that we tried to do, Bebe, and people didn't understand it. Matter of fact, what was he was the senator. He just retired. He retired with Margaret Rose Henry. His name just slipped right out of my head. From this area, he was a senator from this area. Gee whiz, it just slips my mind, and he's going to kill me. And I was very close with him. But one of the things, he was at a meeting here in Southbridge, and he said, you know, I like what you're trying to do over there at East Fair. That's before we built the building. And he said, what I like about it is that you want to go with this holistic. And when he said that, he gave me the name.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that we're not just worried about their physical.
Yeah.
We are concerned about it, but we want them to be physically fit, mentally alert, and spiritually alive.
Yeah.
If they are that, then they're whole. And if we find leadership who can give us wholeness as opposed to partial.
Yeah.
I'm here to fight if something go wrong. No, but how do you build me up that I may be a better citizen?
That's right.
And all those things matter. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back.
I can be pretty opinionated. I can be pretty rough sometimes. It's almost like, don't ask me what I think if you really don't want to know, you know, that kind of thing. But I also have a lot of compassion, and I like that. And I think that the gifts that I have, writing, and poetry and musicals and things like that. They're not mine. They're gifts from God. I've been involved with education for a long time, like a lot of parents, particularly with the old PTA and that kind of thing. Education for our children has not been equal, for whatever reasons. I don't know. But I also know that it's not the part of any larger community. It's also not the fault of any larger community. It's also our fault. Because when you want something, you have to stand up and say, this is what I want for my child. There are times when you have to stand up for what you believe in. And we knew that schools in Newcastle County were not segregated by law. Housing was. We tried to get the adults to say, let's open housing, and then by natural attrition, wherever you are living, that's the school that you will attend. Okay. We also knew that once schools were desegregated, forced busing and that kind of thing, regardless of what you think, it divides your community. And desegregation was very successful in dividing our Black community. The way that I see it, every day is an opportunity to mentor. But mentoring is something that anybody can do, and that's the truth. Because whatever experiences you've had that are positive and might help somebody else to not make that same mistake, just tell them. I think that you can use theater for two things. You can use theater to bring people together in a sense of community, but you can use theater to teach. Now, like this month, Black History Month, okay, we're using it to teach. Black history is America's history. And that's one of the reasons that I have a passion for working with Delaware Historical Society, because I think, according to their mission, they are to preserve and archive the history of people of the state of Delaware. There had never been an original musical at the DuPont Playhouse by a Delawarean. I didn't know that. So we did it, and oh man, that was the most fun. We did, you heard that movie called The Help? Yeah. Okay. In the 60s, I wrote, was it 60s or 70s? Can't remember. I wrote a play called Moti Misan, and it was done very successfully at the DuPont Playhouse. That's the same program. That's the same thing. Moti Misan was the interdependent relationship between Black domestics and white affluency. And we did it in song and dance to make it palatable, but you still got your message across. When I saw that Help, and I read that book, I have it upstairs, and I said, oh my goodness. I guess people in my generation just work to get people where they are. And when it comes time for all the celebration and blowing and whistles and all that kind, we don't need that. I know I don't. But the one thing, I have a great memory with President Barack Obama and Joe, because Joe Biden, that's my buddy. When we were down at the train station, when they were going through, when he was first elected, and we had some sort of little reception or whatever, I can't remember what it was. And Margaret Henry and all of us were standing on that front row. Well, I thought I was just fine, but it was overwhelming when we saw the two of them, because I know Joe Biden. And he came down the steps first, and then President Barack Obama went around the other way, and then he got right there, and I just melted. It isn't so much about a Black man being elected to the presidency. It was, to me, a renewal of faith in people, that you really understood that Black people are intellectual, and we can walk and chew gum at the same time, and we can do all these things.
And we're back. And let me apologize, because of all the people I should remember, I should remember J.D. Johnson.
Yeah,
because that's my boy. He really looked out for us and worked with us and did so many different things.
Yeah.
But he was the one who said, the wholeness that you're presenting is what our community needs. And Bebe, you know, I guess it would be senseless for me to ask you what disturbs you, because I think this is the area that's disturbing you with our community, because that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. But what is it that you're finding you're being uncomfortable with our community right now as a whole?
The biggest thing, I think, is the use of guns and weapons and the gangs.
Yeah.
And actually, I can remember a time back when Bishop Morton and at the time it was Derek
Johnson.
We went around trying to work with the young people to see what their concerns were and that kind of thing. I still have that report. And the gangs were just forming, but we knew it, but nobody wanted to believe it. But if you've been in the street as long as I have, you know it. And we also knew that the Latino community had formed at least 2 gangs, that I do know, on the west side. Now that bothers me, the business of guns and the business of Black Lives Matter, and I have to ask our community, to whom? If you're going to kill off everybody just because you're having gang warfare or somebody selling guns out the trunk of a car and on the streets, on certain streets that we all know about, who does it really matter to? Okay, now the thing that's most important that I wish that we could get to is that Black lives should matter to you.
Right.
I don't care who the you is.
Okay.
But Black lives should matter to you. The other part that bothers me is our lack of, and we are working on this big time, our lack of the respect for learning and for education. Our lack of respect for teachers. I'm not saying that every teacher is perfect, but I am saying that all of us can read a stop sign and count money and count your change because you had a teacher. So stop taking for granted that a teacher is just an by the way of occupation. No. Gloria Grantham and I have been working now for almost 2 years on a project to help us elevate, I don't care if they do it anyplace else, elevate the level of education majors and teachers in the state of Delaware because it is that important. Excuse me. And hopefully that with the elevation of teachers, what you're doing is helping people to understand that there is this person who has chosen a profession of helping you to learn how to grow, how to be, how to use your brain, how to use your talents, how to maintain some semblance of relationships between you and learning and a community. And you got to stop acting like, oh, anybody can be a teacher. No, anybody cannot be a teacher. Anybody can go into the schools and teach, but that doesn't mean they're a teacher.
Absolutely.
And we need to know that. Those things really bother me more than anything, quite frankly.
Yeah, I know your passion for education is just going to always be at the top of your list of what you would like to see. I believe if we educate stronger, it will pull us out of the poverty that we're in. It'll pull us out of the problems that we have and the predicaments, baby. But I am just impressed with your fire still. Your fire still. I mean, you have not wavered in what you believe. You have been. A lot of people have disagreed with you, and that's all right. But one of the things about it, they can't say you're two-faced.
Yeah.
Because you are who you are, and you believe what you believe.
Yeah.
But I'm told now that you are spending some time lecturing at the big university. They have called upon you, your wisdom and your knowledge. And what are you teaching down there?
Black history.
Black history.
It's a lot of fun. It's the University of Delaware's Lifelong Learning Center. That is something I look forward to like nobody's business. I can't even explain to you how much fun it is because what I have found over all these 80 plus years that I've been around, we think that everybody knows Black history. No, they don't. No, they don't. And I think that a conversation about history, a conversation about racism, those kinds of things in our churches with other people is so important and so essential. Stop trying to act like everybody knows and that because they don't know that it's deliberate and that they don't want to know who you are or gain any respect for you. That's not true. If you look at how history has been written, the context of it, we're not there. And we need to learn who we are for ourselves so that we can see ourselves as foundational to the growth, founding, development, protection, and continuation of this thing called America. There is not one facet of American life, so to speak, at any level, that you don't see a Black hand in there.
That's right.
Not one. Not one.
And that's the miracle of the mercy of God.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't get discouraged and say, oh, it'll never happen. It won't if you aren't going to do something. And I'm not saying that the only way things will happen is because we're saying it. I'm saying to you, truth is going to set us free, so you might as well learn what the truth is and tell it.
Amen. Learn what the truth is and
That's
tell
right.
it.
That's right.
And tell it.
Yeah.
And that's what your mission has been.
Yeah, it's got to be.
To make sure I tell it.
Yeah.
Bebe, listen, you will live a long time because your whole purpose in life is to help somebody else.
Don't tell my children that.
No, they want you to live a long time. I know your girls, they want you to, but you will live a long time because you have discovered the secret, and that is to pour into the lives of others.
Oh,
you could easily go away and just live nice because your daughters are doing so well that you don't have to work. You can do so many things to just chill, to go down to Florida and do what you do. But you are on the run. Even today, you're running late and you're running all over the place. But I say to people often, the reason why Bebe is so strong is because she doesn't sit back and wait and complain. She go try to make it happen. And your last sentence really speaks to that, where somebody got to tell it, and that becomes your mission. So I think I need to give you your license to preach, because you won't be preaching the gospel, but you will certainly be preaching the black experience. Amen. Because that happens a lot. I hope somebody hear you.
I hope
because
so.
if somebody
really
hears you, it'll be a voice well heard. And not only should I say somebody, I'm one who have listened to you and have taken heed to some of the things that you've changed my perspective on some things.
Wow.
Because I was very aggressive in the front end of our relationship. I've calmed down a whole lot. Just a little bit. I was very aggressive. But I calmed down a whole lot because you showed me you don't have to be a bulldog.
No, you don't.
You just need to state your claim and continue to state it.
That's right.
And I learned that from you. And I often know I'm very transparent in saying that I didn't come here knowing everything. I don't know everything. I still have a lot of growing to do. But that was one trait that you taught me, because I would be in meetings. We'd be in meetings. I'm like, why don't Bebe get a little bit more fun? And you just keep saying what you have to say. And eventually those who need to hear it heard it. And we can see in the reactions that they're providing. So we give you credit for that. And I really want to thank you for taking the time to talk with me today.
Oh, no, I enjoyed it.
And I enjoyed having you here. And we don't get a chance to do enough of this, and I'm going to make sure that happens. Maybe we're going to take you out to lunch and you can pay.
Oh, no, you can pay. Okay. But, I appreciate this, and the only thing that I would ask is that anyone that may see this video, if you have problems with anything that I said, trust me, I have a phone line that's open, I have an email, and call me. I'll talk with you.
Yeah, and she does. But the only problem is she gonna respond to you with 1,000 words because she loves to type and keep writing, and she uses big letters and small letters. But she will. And Bebe, listen, if they offended, it doesn't mean that you have offended them. Well, sometimes when we have not been exposed to truth, we tend to be shallow in what we believe. Well, so we need to be open to hear.
No,
but you have not done anything to
We should be open to hear everybody.
Yeah.
And we should also understand that until we come together as a community, we're not one.
And that's the key.
That's
the key.
Yeah.
And if we are to believe that Black Lives Matter, then let us start in our own community first.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've always liked about Southbridge. And when I see something that looks like a little wedge coming into this community, I get upset, because from the time that I moved to Delaware, Southbridge was a strong neighboring community. I used to love coming over here because people knew each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I say that from the distance because I am not from Southbridge. I was planted here. The church is. Yeah. Because this church was founded right here in Southbridge. And then they moved to East Side for a little while, and then we came back home when I heard that history. But I also heard about the people here.
Oh, yeah.
They are very, very strong, sturdy people.
Yes.
And I'm always bragging about Southbridge because they've been through a lot. And that's one of the reasons why I got in a lot of trouble with some of the political figures, is because I fight for this community.
Yeah.
And I fight for this community. It ain't for me. I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
But as you have been doing all of your life, it was people like yourself and others who taught me it's not about how much you can receive, it's about how much you can give.
Yes.
And that's what we're trying to do.
Yes.
So Southbridge, thank you for acknowledging their strength.
Oh,
this is not a poor people.
This is a great
This is a very rich community.
It is very rich.
And thank you for that. And Bebe, if there's anything else you want to say, you have this moment. This is your moment. You can certainly do it.
Well, I number one, I want to thank you for the time. And number two, I really agree with you. I just hope maybe because of the tenor of the times and the problems that we are having on all fronts, that our community might find a way to bring ourselves together, not by organization. I know we have a lot of organizations. We have the Urban League, we have the NAACP, we have the Link, we have sororities, fraternities, and that kind of thing. But everybody is distinct in their own little shelter. And maybe it's just time to think about all of us coming together as one to try and strategize for ourselves which way we want to go before any further division from the outside occurs.
That's right.
Need
And
to
that's
think
how you
about
do it.
it. Yeah.
Amen. And I will end this segment with just saying to all those who listen, one of the reasons why I'm so proud to have Bebe around, because she's my sorority sister. When I was at Lincoln University, it was only the Deltas that I paid attention to. I didn't pay attention to any other organization. I ain't gonna say no names.
Oh, that's
but I
funny.
paid attention to the Deltas. I became a Delta Jet, and I said everything I can do to be a part of the Delta's life I wanted to be. And when Omega Psi Phi came available, I went because I heard they were the brothers to the Deltas. And I said that in one of my interviews and got in trouble. But I like to tell the truth. So once again, we got a great Delta sitting here who has done a great job in the city of Wilmington as well as in Delaware. Thank you, Bebe, for being with me today.
Thank you for
I
having
appreciate you. We'll be right back.
Hey, our hearts were touched. I know I speak for Eleni, right? I mean,
It was a wonderful lecture.
Thank you.
we were just inspired, and we also know that so many members of our community were riveted by your talk. So,
Wow.
Fatima, thank you for doing such an excellent
you.
job for handling the questions.
Thank you for having me.
Now, it's my distinct pleasure to welcome another friend of us, John Cochran, the chair of the Board of Trustees, who would like to share some very special news with Bebe and the entire audience this evening.
What?
Yeah, it's a surprise.
Dennis, thanks. I have just been delighted to be here tonight with you, Ms. Coker. I haven't had the opportunity to meet you in person, but I do hope that I have the opportunity sometime very soon. Thank you very much for your remark. You're very inspiring remarks. So I know that you have one of your most successful daughters right standing behind you tonight, and you have your other two successful daughters, as you can see on the screen.
Yeah.
We have one more portion of our program tonight that is going to just take a moment or two, and I'm going to ask Joan to lend me a hand here. The highest non-academic award that the University of Delaware can bestow upon an individual is our Medal of Distinction. And tonight, we are honoring you with the Medal of Distinction of the University of Delaware, and we extend our congratulations wholeheartedly to you. So congratulations, and I can tell you over 300 people right now are applauding this recognition for you.
This is so nice. Thank you.
Let me tell you this, the medal recognizes individuals who have made humanitarian, cultural, intellectual, or scientific contributions to society, who have achieved noteworthy professional success, who have given significant service to the university in our community, in our state, and our region.
Wow.
And in recognition of your many accomplishments, ranging from issues of social justice and education reform to community-based theater and the arts, I am delighted to present you with the Medal of Distinction. And I know you've already bestowed the medal, and we have a framed resolution from the Board of Trustees recognizing this award to you. And we extend our heartworthy congratulations to you. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
Now, we do have, unfortunately, we can't do this in person, and that was really our charge. We would have loved to have been able to have all of us gathered this evening to give you this very special recognition. But we do hope that sometime soon in the future, we can get together and celebrate in person. And we extend our very best to you and to your family. Dennis, I'll give it back to you.
Thank you so much. John, can I keep this on until we meet?
Absolutely.
This is so great.
Hey, Bebe, We are really so proud to have you join the ranks of the
Thank
esteemed
you.
awardees of the Medal of Distinction. You should know that you brought a tear in our eyes, and I know we did the same, in your eyes, and so we're really touched. And so this is our honor. It is really our honor to bestow this medal to you. It's so
Thank
great
you.
for our community,
Thank you.
and
Wow.
we look forward to celebrating in person. I don't know if you remember, but last time we dinner together, you came to our house with your 3 daughters.
That's right. That's right.
And
That's right.
we need to do it anytime.
We need to do another dinner.
So Eleni will cook Greek lamb, if you like.
That's right. Oh, I love lamb. Oh, I do. I do. Thank you.
So it'd be wonderful. And really, we are grateful for the opportunity to learn from you this evening.
Oh,
Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being such a wonderful friend. Thank you, Joan, for being a wonderful trustee and for all your help with the surprise and for not spilling the beans, before.
Joan, thank you
That
very
was
much.
difficult, where to hide it in the couch and all that good stuff. A lot of engineering, intellectual engineering. And many thanks to Fatima for leading the Q&A.
oh, thank you.
Thank you all.
Beautiful.
Good
Thank
night
you.
and
Congratulations.
stay safe.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, everyone. For
Congratulations, Mom. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mom.
Thanks,
proud.
Mari.
Love you.
Welcome.
Love you.
too.
Wow.
Love you guys.
And we're back. It is a joy. It was a privilege to have Sister Bebe Coker with us today. And y'all hear me always talking about, how proud I am of this and how proud I am of that. Yes, she did a phenomenal job with her girls. She did a phenomenal job with her own personal life, being an educated woman during the time that she was brought up. But one of the things that she said that stuck with me, we have to make sure that all lives matter. We can't preach one thing and practice another. We cannot say Black Lives Matter. For those of you who are watching me, we cannot say that with a clear conscience and stay restful whenever we have all of these murders that's going on in our own community by each other. We have to address that as well. I call for the ministers of this city. I call for the politicians. Let's put down our political agendas and let's get in our community. That's what she was. She was trying to get us to understand we must come together as a community. If we don't come together as a community, we will die. We will perish. She wasn't trying to put a political thing out there saying that she don't love Black Lives Matter, but it becomes a slogan if we are not fulfilling the tenets of Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter, we should be educating Black lives. If Black Lives Matter, we should be preserving Black lives. If Black Lives Matter, we should be making sure that they have a future beyond where we are right now. So what I'm happy about today is we got an opportunity to hear a fresh perspective. We're not saying that the movement of Black Lives Matter doesn't matter, because we're not saying that. But what we're saying is let's get into it and let's all look at all sides. When police brutality occurs, yes, I'm going to lift my voice. But when a brother is shot by a brother or a sister is shot by a sister, I need to raise my voice to that as well. Because just last week, you remember, we had a young man who was beat to death by 2 of our own. And we have to raise our voices so that we can build this community. So I hope you really took some time to think about it. And she said, her line is open. You don't need to call her with your disagreements. We need to just listen to what was said and figure out how are we going to become a community, because that's what matters in the time that we live in. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I want to continue. Sister Bebe had asked that I bring in some more diverse ministers and other people to really begin to share their community with us. And as we share our community with them, I'm going to take her up on that, because I think that is something that we are missing. We become monolithic, where we're just one-sided. But what we really need to do is begin to open ourselves up so that we can see how we can build this true community, this true village. I thank you so very much for the time that we shared together today, and I pray that the time was well useful. Until the next time we get together, God bless.